Roster battles are heating up for the Giants. Will Luis Matos make the team? Let's talk about it right here on Locked On Giants.
You are Locked On Giants, your daily San Francisco Giants podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, y'all? I'm Alan Stiles. Welcome to Locked On Giants, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now, thanks to you, the #1 sports podcast network. On the show, we provide daily episodes Monday through Friday, talking about the San Francisco Giants in a way that combines passion, analytics with the eye test, and a little bit of fun. I'm from the Bay, but I live in Sacramento now, and I host a show on Sacktown Sports 1140, as well as emceeing Sacramento Rivercast games. All in all, I'm lucky enough to cover a team I've been a fan of all my life. Today, we are discussing some of the roster battles. Will Luis Matos end up making the team, or will they have to DFA him? The Giants bring back reliever Joey Lucchesi, and a couple injuries going on with the pitching staff as well. And last but not least, Keaton Winn has been balling up. His fastball is up to 98, 99 miles per hour. Could he be an X factor for the Giants this season? Today's episode is brought to you by MLB The Show 26. Visit MLBTheShow.com/lockedon and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. So the roster battles are continuing to heat up, and everybody is talking about Luis Matos because he has been balling out of control. And, a couple people are a bit weary to believe in what Luis Matos is doing. We've seen him get hot before. Obviously, when you're dealing with spring training, sometimes it's hard to assess what's going on. The biggest thing for me and Luis Matos is he's just much better when he's getting consistent playing time. When he is platooning and he gets, a random series here, random series there, he doesn't play as well. Now, the reality is that's how it starts for a lot of these guys. You don't just get gifted every single day, playing time every single day. So he has to show that he's a guy that can do his thing and produce even when he's not in the lineup every single day. And the other thing about it too is when you're looking at that outfielder off the bench, a lot of times you want somebody that's really strong defensively, which is why Drew Gilbert, I think a lot of us had him notched as that fourth outfielder going into the season. But Drew Gilbert, he is going to be DHing. He can swing the bat now, but it doesn't look like he's going to be in the outfield quite yet. But that's why a lot of us had Drew Gilbert going into spring training. So we'll see what happens once he, is able to get some ABs, because that's where Drew Gilbert has kind of struggled with the bat. This is from Alex Pavlovich, where Luis Matos stands in competition to make the Giants 2026 opening day roster. As the ballpark was still buzzing, Luis Matos stepped up and crushed a fastball to a similar spot. That was Bryce Eldridge, who had a hit earlier on. It had an estimated distance of 444 feet, but Matos ended up with an RBI double off the batter's eye. Later, he found an easier approach. In his third at-bat of the day, Matos yanked a fastball down the left field line and into the bullpen. The homer continued what has been a big spring. Matos is 9 for 20 with 2 home runs and 2 doubles. He has yet to draw a walk, but he is only one of 2 players out of over 200 guys that have had ABs this spring. No strikeouts yet. No strikeouts. Tony Vitello said he's strong for a guy that's not as big as some of the other guys. He's strong, and he backspun it out there with success. The timing of this latest hot stretch couldn't be better. Matos is out of options, and the Giants would have to designate him for assignment if he does not make the initial roster. Coming into camp, it seemed more likely that they might prioritize Drew Gilbert, who got those reps over Matos down the stretch last season, or Gerard Encarnacion, who profiles better as a power bat off the bench. But a lot has changed over the last 2 weeks. Front offices know better than to put too much stock into the kind of results Matos is getting, but sometimes they can be a good tiebreaker. That's particularly true when you're looking for reasons to keep a 24-year-old outfielder who is a former top prospect. The Giants don't believe there's any chance Matos would get through waivers into their AAA roster if they DFA him at the end of March. And I think we all feel that way. Again, 24 years old, 6 months older than somebody like Bo Davidson, who hasn't even been in AAA quite yet. and Matos has been with the big league club for a couple of years now. There's a greater chance of that with Encarnacion as far as getting through waivers. He's 4 for 23 with no extra base hits. They have seen his power potential in flashes the last couple of years, but over the next 2 weeks of Cactus League games, they certainly need to see a bit more production. Gilbert has been sidelined by shoulder soreness and might run out of time. Grant McCray has had a very good spring and made noticeable adjustments to his approach, and he's a great fit for a roster that lacks speed, but he can be optioned, and Matos cannot, and that often makes a difference this time of year. Will Brennan is on the 40-man roster, and non-roster invitee Jared Oliva has shown off intriguing speed and defense. A star of the spring has been the 24-year-old Victor Barakoto, but he is coming off a couple inconsistent minor league seasons and has just 11 games of AAA experience. Barakoto's emergence could play into decision-making in one respect. If the Giants believe it's real and he can help them at some point this year, they would likely feel a bit more comfortable parting with Matos or Encarnacion, knowing there's a new layer of depth. Asked about Matos before Friday's game, Vitello mentioned that he has always thought that a lot of young hitters don't utilize their legs enough in their swings. That's been a talking point with Matos in the spring. Quote, I think he's athletic and has a great foundation in his swing, and that's what leads to a clean-looking swing and a pretty consistent hitter. He's got a little bit of a track record to fall back on. He hasn't had a huge runway in the big leagues where you could fairly say that this is what he can or cannot do. So we're taking into account the past, but this is the year, and it's good to have a fresh set of eyes on him, whether it be myself or others, and evaluate how he is at the plate. He's capable, but obviously you get to a point too where you're trying to figure out who the most capable guys are. Matos has seen how this business works. He was in the same international signing class as Marco Luciano. They came through the system together, but Luciano ran out of options and spent offseason getting repeatedly DFA'd until the New York Yankees finally snuck him in through waivers. Wade Meckler, a teammate, also was designated over the offseason. Matos says, I don't think about it. I just come in and play and give 100%. That's a decision that's upstairs, and they're going to have to make it. So, you know, I mean, for Matos, obviously, this is all you can do, right? I think the reality is now the question is it too little too late, or do the Giants feel, look, we've seen him do this before. It's just tough for us to evaluate what's real and what's not. And if that's how they feel, there's really nothing he could have done besides just never get out. Right. He's been doing his thing, as Alex Pavlovich kind of wrote. He's been playing as well as you can play, essentially. And if they don't have a spot for him, he's not going to make it through waivers, and that's going to be it for his time in San Francisco. I think for me, it always comes down to who is available and who shows out at the right time. I mean, early on, we talked about Luis Matos, and, you know, that kind of started the whole conversation of whether or not the Giants see him in their future or not. But Drew Gilbert getting injured and Gerard Encarnacion just unable to produce so far, I mean, it's pretty obvious. I don't even know if Drew Gilbert, I know he's a lefty bat, but I don't even know if Drew Gilbert is on the same level as Grant McCray right now. He's going to only be DHing. So when you're DHing, at least to start, when you're DHing, it's very important that you produce, right? And we've seen Drew Gilbert do it on different levels in the AAA level, but he's another guy where we got to see you do it against big league pitching. So, you know, some of these guys are running out of time. I think Drew might be somebody that they say, hey, we have other options that we can take out with Drew Gilbert. Can't really do that with Luis Matos. And if you look at them from a profile standpoint, you know, Luis Matos is probably the one guy that you feel comfortable will not come back to the Giants, right? I mean, I'm not saying that if and Drew Gilbert's not in this situation, but if he was, he probably doesn't get through either, but I think we all know for a fact that Matos won't get through. I mean, even the idea of Gerard Encarnacion, he's an interesting one. I don't know for sure that he would get through waivers or not. There's just a lot of guys that, you know, are going to be able to flash power and play a corner position, right? Unless you think that this guy is going to be a future 25 plus home run hitter, I don't know how many teams out there, you know, would be as excited about him versus a Luis Matos and what Luis Matos can bring to the table from a from a full standpoint of a well-rounded player in general. So, yeah, I mean, I think that Matos has to make the team based on how he's been playing, because part of it just comes down to you don't want to lose him once you put him through, DFA and then the waiver situation. That's probably the biggest reason, on top of the fact that he's been doing his thing. That's probably the biggest reason you do hold on to him and give yourself a little bit more time to see what he can do. And you just give him one more opportunity. Hey, man, are you going to be able to be better defensively? Are you going to be able to still produce in a platoon situation? And if somebody does happen to go down in that outfield, we'll give you, you'd be first up to get an opportunity. So I think he makes the team. I did not, just like everybody else, I did not think that would be the case initially, just because, they continued to bring in outfielders after outfielders. But, when you are there and you're producing the way that Matos has been producing, it changes how people view you. I thought it was interesting how Pavlovich said there's only so much we can put into account when it comes to Luis Matos and what he has been doing in the spring, but you also can't ignore it. And what else do you want him to do? It's like looking at and a lot of these guys are on MLB rosters. It's not as if, I know we're filtering a lot of different AAA guys and high AA guys like that, but what else do you want him to do? Right. And if you don't add him, then you must be okay, or you must feel really good about who you have currently on your roster. And between Grant McCray and Drew Gilbert, I don't know that either of them have higher ceilings or have shown more than Luis Matos so far. Or you would say, I think I see this coming. Honestly, it wouldn't even be about them. To me, it would be about the next group of outfielders that are on their way, and Bo Davidson and Dakota Jordan. But again, we don't know what they're going to do. Luis Matos has had success at the MLB level, right? We just want to see it more consistently, and you still don't have a spot for him. I mean, who's to say that Harrison Bader, what if Harrison Bader does struggle, right? I saw him, look, I know it's World Baseball Classic. I saw him drop a fly ball a couple days ago, right? And there was a diving play that it was a really tough play. I think it was off Luis Arias, I believe. So you never know what can happen, is my point. And obviously they bring in Bader, and we're excited about how the defense will be better. Hitting wise, there are some question marks. So I don't know that if you look at this lineup right now, or if you look at this outfield, you could say, oh, we for sure, don't necessarily need a high level fourth outfielder. We need somebody that either just a bat or just defense. You might need somebody like Luis Matos, who gives you a little bit of both and is still obviously improving. Let's get to the other side. The Giants bring back Joey Lucchesi, and they lose, unfortunately, another reliever. More Locked On Giants coming up. Today, I'm thrilled to be talking about our sponsor, MLB The Show. The greatest game in baseball is back with its newest installment. Baseball fans are going to have a hard time pulling themselves away from the game. I love how I can play with my Giants and win as many World Series as I can, because obviously we're hoping the Giants do it in real life, but I can have some fun doing that in the meantime. If you're a gamer, a baseball fan, or just want to enjoy America's favorite pastime in a new, exciting way, you are going to love MLB The Show 26. Play as your favorite team and franchise players and see if you have what it takes to win your own World Series. Visit MLBtheshow.com/locked-on and use code LOCKEDON to unlock a pack for use in Diamond Dynasty. Pre-order now, available March 17th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X, and Nintendo Switch. Rated E for everyone. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure is on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/BlueWire. Indeed.com/podcast. You should go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Next segment with you, and the Giants are bringing back Joey Lucchesi. This is from Steve Adams on MLB Trade Rumors. The Giants have agreed to bring left-hander Joey Lucchesi back on a minor league deal. John Heyman of the New York Post reports the CAA client will head to big league camp and be paid $1.5 million if he makes the roster. He has another $300K available as far as incentives. Whether the Lucchesi signing was already in the works when fellow left-hander Reiver Sanmartin suffered an injury, or whether this signing comes in response to that injury isn't clear. However, Susan Slusser of the SF Chronicle, Sanmartin's recent MRI revealed a severe hip flexor strain that's expected to sideline him for at least 3 months. That sounds very painful. By the way, Sanmartin, Erik Miller, and Matt Gage were the only left-handed relief options on the 40-man roster, and Miller has been slowed by a back injury in camp. Lucchesi, who is 32, was effective for the Giants in a middle relief role last season. He appeared in 38 games and tossed 38 and a third innings of 3.76 ERA ball. His 18.8% strikeout rate was well below average, but Lucchesi's 7.3% walk rate was strong, and his 53% ground ball rate was excellent. In 433 big league innings with the Padres, Mets, and Giants, Lucchesi has a 4.07 ERA with roughly average strikeout, walk, and ground ball rates. He worked primarily as a starter before last year's bullpen success. The Giants chose to non-tender him in November. Also going into Reiver Sanmartin. Sanmartin, 29 years old, came to the Giants via waiver claim back in November. He spent his entire big league career with the Reds, appearing in parts of 4 seasons from 2021 to 2025. And that time, Sanmartin pitched a 5.66 ERA with plenty of grounders, but a strikeout rate, walk rate, and average fastball that were all the worst as far as the league averages. Despite that modest track record, Reiver was one of the Giants' only bullpen additions this offseason. The Giants signed relievers Jason Foley, Sam Hentges, and Rowan Wick to major league deals. Knowing none were likely to be healthy for opening day, Sanmartin was claimed off of waivers, and the Giants signed Michael Fulmer to a minor league deal. Outside of that, their bullpen had gone largely untouched this winter, despite trading Camilo Doval and Tyler Rogers back in July and losing Randy Rodriguez to Tommy John surgery. Assuming the Lucchesi deal is finalized soon, he should have enough time to build up and be a candidate to break camp in a similar single-inning relief role to the one he had last year. So, I mean, if you're Lucchesi, obviously you can't start counting your 1.5 million quite yet. But if you don't make this team, I don't know who you're going to be able to blame. I mean, they don't have really any left-handed relievers. So, and clearly they don't like who they have as far as the minors are concerned. And maybe they'll bring up some guys there too. But yeah, I mean, if you're Joey Lucchesi, this has got to be one of the, I don't want to say easy, but this has got to be one of the most laid out plans you could have, where you can make this squad and have plenty of opportunity to show what you can do, because left-handed pitching wise, the Giants just don't really have anything. So I would imagine that, you know, this is a happy day for Lucchesi, and he's glad that the Giants gave him a call. He's just got to stay healthy and just do, you know, pretty much what he did last season. Just eat innings. He's not going to strike out guys, but also just don't walk guys and keep the ball on the ground. You know, I mean, whenever he came in, it felt like, you know, he at least did his job for the most part and tried to limit damage as well. So it's really all you can ask for. Obviously, he's not going to be in the running for any type of late relief or closing, anything like that. So just come in, eat innings, keep the ball on the ground, throw strikes, and that's really all you can do. So the Giants, they had to make a move, right? Especially with Reiver Sanmartin going down, and they're probably not done. You know, some of these names that we've talked about before, they're probably not done trying to just add and see who can show up for them as far as the mound is concerned. One more segment with you. Well, somebody has been showing up, and that's Keaton Winn. Is he poised for a breakout season as long as he can stay healthy? More Locked On Giants coming up.
Hey, this is Jeff Carr from Locked On Reds, and you know, I've reached the point in my life where my wife and I are looking toward the future. We've got the house, we've got the career, we even have an awesome dog, but now we need to secure that future. That's where Ethos comes in for us. When I look at this insurance or that insurance and I try to pick one, I might as well be reading an entirely different language. Ethos clears up the noise and gets me set up with exactly what I need, because Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy, and it's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/lockedonmlb. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get a free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/lockedonmlb. That's ethos.com/lockedonmlb, ethos.com/lockedonmlb. Application times and rates may vary.
MLB opening day is almost here, and you can feel it. Fresh starts, big expectations, and that first crack of the bat. Whether it's a breakout rookie or a division race that goes down to the wire, there's nothing like being in the ballpark for it. The only problem? Getting tickets can feel like a grind. Long queues, surprise fees, prices jumping at checkout. That's where there's Game Time. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means you get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay. Period. The seat views feature is huge. I can see the panoramic view from my exact seat before I buy. Zone Deals lets me pick the section and save even more while Game Time selects the exact seats. You can follow your favorite team and get alerts when new deals drop. 2 taps and it's done. No stress, no hidden fees, just great seats in minutes. That's what makes it so easy to decide last minute to hit a game. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last segment with you on this Monday, and a name that we haven't really talked about because he hasn't been healthy when we're talking about these young pitchers and what they may be able to do for the Giants this season. Keaton Winn, how about that? Keaton Winn is back, and he has been playing pretty darn well, all right? Number one, his fastball has been out of control right now, and I mean that in a good way. Keaton Winn was all over the top pitch velocity in the last game that he threw. He threw a fastball at 99.5 miles per hour, 98.7, 98.3, and Blade Tidwell was in there at 98.4. So that is not what he typically had been throwing. Right. I mean, he is really turning this thing on and doing it in a big way. Across his career, this is from Michael Monreal. Across his career in the big leagues, Keaton Winn has averaged 95 miles per hour with his sinker and a 1-2-3 inning in the 6th today. This was yesterday. He averaged 98.3 miles per hour. The splitter was also up from an 88.9 miles per hour career average to a 91.4. Another arm making a bullpen case for the Giants. So why haven't we talked about Keaton Winn in a while? Well, Keaton Winn just hasn't been healthy. Okay, he's 28 years old, so young might be a relative term here. He's 28 years old. The Giants drafted him in 2017. Okay, then he was drafted again by the Giants in 2018, and he so far obviously has been in and out of the pitching rotation and staff and everything, the bullpen, everything that he's tried to, get together throughout his time with the Giants. In 2023, he threw 42 innings in the big leagues. He was 1-3. In 2024, he was 3-8. He threw 55 innings, and his career ERA during that time, he's at a 5.93 ERA. He's pitched in 28 games. He has started in 17 games total. He's thrown 107 2/3 innings with 92 strikeouts. So, fairly small sample size still, but that's because there have been injuries that have kind of held him back. And I think in my mind, is still 25 years old, but he's not. He's 28 years old now. That doesn't mean that, he still can't help the Giants. He's really starting to hit his prime as far as age is concerned at a time when the Giants are going to need it, and when you have somebody like him, I know everybody throws 98 miles per hour these days, but when you have somebody like him who can up his velo. And I don't know what's in the water right now. Everybody's throwing hard and hitting home runs. So we'll see, right? And obviously, when you're starting a game, it's not the same as when you only have 1 or 2 innings. You can really let the tank out. I don't know if he's doing the carnivore diet too, like some of the other Giants pitchers, but this could be a guy that we see as far as the late innings are concerned. You just want to see him consistent. Number one, consistent as far as the health is concerned. And number two, consistent as far as just being able to get guys out and do it in high leverage situations. So, yesterday he comes into the ball game and I believe he had 2 strikeouts in, I think it was 2 innings that he pitched. So that's something that people are just excited to watch and see how it can progress. So he threw, rough day kind of for Blade Tidwell. He threw 1 2/3 innings. He 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, but he did have 4 strikeouts. Keaton Winn threw 2 innings and he had 2 strikeouts. So this is a guy that everybody would love to see kind of figure things out and, be able to add to a bullpen that's just looking for help from anywhere. So if you look at it based on where he's at in his career, he might be 28 years old, but because of some of these injuries, that can keep you back in ways negatively as well, of course, but in certain ways, these are innings that he has not eaten up yet. So if you look at his arm age, if you will, maybe it's not maybe it's younger than we may think, but you got to stay healthy. That's part of that too. So it's not a perfect science. And we just want to see him healthy on the bump and producing for the Giants. And if he's throwing 98, 99 miles per hour, I think that's something that the Giants maybe are looking around thinking, hey, maybe this could be a guy that we try in a couple different spots here and just see what's the best thing if you're looking at a Swiss Army knife type of situation coming out of the bullpen. Thank you for listening to Locked On Giants. Thank you for watching Locked On Giants. Be sure to follow me on social media at @the_Styles Files, Styles with an I. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is for you. Get Locked On Giants ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to Locked On sfgiants at supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, peace.